Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the season so far. In the last video I asked how you guys are enjoying the season and a lot of people in the comments, almost everyone I saw said that they were enjoying it a lot and it felt really refreshing. So I'm glad to hear that. So you've probably seen a few of these changes that we're going to talk about today, but I want to talk about the biggest changes to specific operators. Just keep in mind that this is just my list. If we were to include every little change, we would be here for a while because a lot of operators got new sights, new scopes. So I'm just including the biggest ones that changed the game the most. So to begin, we have Iana, who benefits the most out of the new Ping 2.0 system. So at this point, we should all know that Iana's holograms are really powerful with the right teamwork and right callouts, but now it only gets stronger for the more casual player base that plays Iana. And the reason for this is you're able to use the Ping 2.0 system as you can on your drone with the hologram. But hopefully Iana's a little bit better for the more casual base now. It's going to be super easy to be able to just ping something and have your teammate refrag your replicator. And there's also one more tiny little change with Iana, and that her holograms can no longer trigger metal detectors. This one could be looked at as a buff for the defenders potentially. If you know that the hologram went through a metal detector and it didn't go off, then you basically know that it's a hologram and not the real Iana. But I could see it going either way because now as a hologram you could be more silent, which of course does have its perks. Now moving on, a lot of operators did get the new hard breach gadget, but none of them benefited quite like Fuze. So Fuze, even before this update, was starting to rise up my rankings for sure. He has the best gun in the game and now also has a pretty good sight on it if you don't like the Russian sights. And alongside that, you also now get this hard breach gadget. So from above, Fuze could potentially now be the best vertical player because one, he can get hatches now with the hard breach gadget, which is huge in my opinion. And honestly, there's no better operator to pair with a sledge or buck whenever you're trying to play vertically, because now you could at least get a hatch and you can also have a lot of vertical pressure, including clusters. The clusters can destroy everything, all gadgets, great for utility clearing. And now there's no better operator to clear utility now that Thatcher is no longer as powerful as he used to be. And that leads me to the number 3, and that is Thatcher and his EMP rework. So if you're out of the loop, EMPs will now only disable gadgets instead of destroying them. So his EMP effect is now 15 seconds instead of 10 seconds, but it will not destroy any gadgets as it previously once did. So that's why I did say Fuze might be better for clearing utility because it actually destroys it. But alongside that, you could look at it as either way for the EMP. It's kind of a buff, kind of a nerf. I think it overall is a pretty good balancing ground because whenever you do pick up a gadget, it will remove the EMP effect. So bandit tricking is still possible, sort of. At the end of the day though, this rework is really good just for balancing out Thatcher and making the mains actually have to think before they just throw their EMPs wherever they wish. Now more than ever, I see Thatcher being a really good hard breach support as he's always been, but now it's not just going to be mindlessly throwing EMPs. But moving along down the list here, we're going to be talking about a specific hard breacher and sometimes even a hard breach support, and this is Maverick. He could do really either, but he received a very subtle change and it increased number of gas canisters to 6 from 5. So as it stacks up right now, Maverick needs 2.3 canisters just to open a single hatch. This change really helps people that aren't really professionals with the Maverick torch, and it gives a little bit more margin of error. Previously, you're at around 0.4 canisters margin of error, which is pretty slim if you don't know the perfect ways to use Maverick. This also benefits anyone trying to Maverick trick walls. You're going to have more canister to work with, so therefore you don't have to be as perfect whenever you are trying to Maverick trick. But yeah, anyways, all this was really for, it's just to get casual players a little bit more into Maverick, get his presence up a little bit higher in casual based gameplays, and it won't actually affect anything because you're not going to be able to open an additional hatch or anything by just adding a canister. It's just going to make the ease and accessibility that much better. So now moving on the list to Bandit, this is a operator that had nothing changed to him directly, but all these other changes that we talked about already, especially the Thatcher change, really affects Bandit. So obviously the Thatcher changes affect Bandit a lot because now it disables instead of destroys, so the bandit tricking is going to be even harder than it once was. So if you weren't good at bandit tricking, it's going to be even harder now, and it's really only going to be good against the slower hard breachers. So we're looking at like Hibana, Ace, and the new hard breaching charge, but Thermite, this should only help Thermite out. Now, as long as the Thatcher is actually able to disable the Bandit charge, you're going to be good to be able to get anything open whenever you're bringing a Thermite. So maybe they saw Thermite's pick rate go a little bit too far down with the new addition to Ace, so they wanted to bring it back and level out the playing field. And you also have the new operator Zero, which is potentially going to be able to do some things against bandits. Now, I don't see this as a big player, but there's also Twitch as well, which I think her pick rate might be going up because of the F2. If you guys remember like a video a week or two ago, I was talking about Twitch and how good the F2 was with the 1.5x. And now that the season's out, you guys are definitely agreeing with me. So if you haven't tried it yet, try it out and see if you like it more than when they had the ACOG. Obviously, recoil is a little bit better when the magnification is a little bit less. So the 1.5 times in my book is a big buff. But that only relates to Bandit if the person's actually using the gadget for Twitch in the right ways and using it pretty sneakily, because you could cause some real chaos for a Bandit trigger. But yeah, it's weird how an operator without any changes can change so much just by other operators. It shows how this game really works. One operator's buff is another operator's nerf. At the end of the day, that's really how it is for everyone. But in this case, it looks like Bandit is on the wrong side of this one. Now, moving along, I got two more real big ones here, and they're pretty related, and it is Rook and Doc. And I think these operators really switched roles. One was better than the other, and now I think it's flipped the other way. As you probably know, every single defender has lost the typical ACOG, and now the highest you could get is a 2x, and that is exactly what Rook got. But Doc did not get the same kind of love and treatment. He only got the 1.5 times. This might not be a big deal if you never spawn peeked with Doc, but if you did, you're now going to be playing Rook, because not only do you have the nice 2x, you also have impact grenades, and you're way more kitted to be able to actually spawn peek. Not only that though, you have the armor pack, which you give your whole team, and you also give yourself whenever you are spawn peeking in case you do get shot. With Doc, you still have the obvious advantage of being able to heal someone or revive someone, but the reviving thing, at the end of the day, that's pretty situational. The healing thing is nice, but you also can't give it to everyone on your team, while the Rook armor pack you can give to everyone. All they have to do is just pick up the vest and they get to absorb a few more bullets. It's the big one that I would like to hear your opinion on. Doc or Rook? Doc versus Rook. Tell me down below which one you think is the best and why you think he's the best. At this point, I'm really excited to see all the pick rates of this season. I know it's only been out for a week, but in a few months, I'm guessing we're going to get that pick rate chart around the mid-season. So I'm excited to see that, see how it's changed from last season. And I'm talking every operator, just see how it's changed. But more specifically, Doc and Rook, I'd love to see how those two changed. And I'm curious to see if they switch spots, because Rook to me is now the go-to spawn killer if you're trying to play like that. So that is my list. There's about 7 operators here that I think changed the most. And I also include Twitch in there, sort of. I mean, I would consider that 8 almost, but that's not really a huge change, and it's just a new site. Anyways, guys, thanks for making it this far into the video. I appreciate you all. Go ahead and subscribe to that second channel. It is a link in the description. I made a whole video about the channel update yesterday if you guys want to go check that out. I appreciate you if you do check that out and subscribe to the second channel. And also, a lot of you guys aren't subscribed to even this channel, so make sure that red button is clicked down below for the subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a fantastic one. Peace out.